The Taiwan Strait, a narrow body of water separating mainland China from the island of Taiwan, belies the deep and complex history of the two entities it divides. The roots of the Taiwan-China conflict can be traced back centuries to a time of shifting dynasties and competing claims over the island we now know as Taiwan. Indigenous populations first inhabited Taiwan, but waves of migration from mainland China, primarily Fujian province, began to reshape the island's demographic and cultural landscape. The seeds of division were sown during the Chinese Civil War, a brutal conflict that erupted in the wake of World War II. The Chinese Communist Party, led by Mao Zedong, emerged victorious, establishing the People's Republic of China in 1949. Their defeated rivals, the Kuomintang under Chiang Kai-shek, fled to Taiwan, establishing a government in exile and vowing to one day reclaim the mainland. This marked the beginning of a decades-long standoff, with both sides claiming to be the legitimate government of all of China. The Taiwan Strait became a flashpoint in the Cold War, with the United States backing Taiwan and providing military support as a bulwark against communist expansion in Asia. Decades passed, marked by periods of tension and uneasy détente. The international community grappled with the One China policy, a diplomatic tightrope walk that acknowledged the PRC's claim over Taiwan while allowing for unofficial ties with Taipei. Through it all, the question of Taiwan's status remained unresolved, a smoldering ember threatening to ignite into open conflict. The Chinese Civil War, ending in 1949, cast a long shadow over the 20th century. The defeated KMT, entrenched on Taiwan, implemented authoritarian rule. Taiwan underwent rapid economic development, transforming into an Asian powerhouse. Meanwhile, mainland China, under Mao Zedong, embarked on a tumultuous journey. The Great Leap Forward led to widespread famine and economic devastation. The Cultural Revolution further scarred the nation's psyche. Despite setbacks, the PRC emerged as a global player. Deng Xiaoping's reforms unleashed China's economic potential. The two Chinas charted divergent paths. Taiwan transformed from authoritarianism to democracy. China remained under Communist Party control. The Taiwan Strait now separates two distinct entities. Taiwan's journey towards democracy is a testament to the indomitable spirit of its people and their yearning for self-determination. Emerging from the shadow of authoritarian rule, Taiwan embraced democratic principles with remarkable speed and fervor. The first direct presidential election in 1996, a landmark event in Taiwan's history, solidified its transition to a multi-party democracy. This newfound freedom unleashed a wave of creativity and innovation across Taiwanese society. Taiwanese artists, writers, and filmmakers explored previously taboo subjects, giving voice to a people long silenced. Civil society organizations flourished, advocating for a wide range of causes from environmental protection to LGBTQ+ rights. Taiwan's economic success story is equally compelling. From its roots as an agricultural economy, Taiwan transformed itself into a global leader in technology and manufacturing. The development of its semiconductor industry, spearheaded by companies like TSMC, propelled Taiwan to the forefront of the global tech supply chain. Taiwan's unique blend of democratic values and economic dynamism set it apart from its larger neighbor. It became a beacon of hope for those aspiring to freedom and prosperity in the region. Taiwan's success, however, came at a price. China, wary of Taiwan's independent streak and its potential to inspire dissent within its own borders, never renounced the use of force to achieve unification. The turning point. Why unification now? The year is 2025. The global landscape has shifted dramatically. The world is grappling with the economic fallout of climate change, resource scarcity, and geopolitical realignments. China, having emerged as a global superpower, exerts significant influence on the world stage. Its economic and military might have grown exponentially, casting a long shadow over the Asia-Pacific region. Taiwan, despite its successes, faces an increasingly precarious situation. The military balance of power has tilted decisively in China's favor. The United States, preoccupied with internal divisions and a more multipolar world, appears less willing to intervene militarily in the event of a conflict across the Taiwan Strait. China, under Xi Jinping's leadership, has adopted a more assertive foreign policy, signaling its determination to achieve national rejuvenation and reclaim what it sees as its historical territories. The One China principle, once a diplomatic nicety, has taken on a new urgency, with Beijing demanding greater fealty from its international partners. Within Taiwan, a sense of vulnerability pervades. The ever-present threat of Chinese military action, coupled with the island's economic dependence on the mainland, weighs heavily on the minds of its citizens. The once unthinkable unification with mainland China no longer seems so far-fetched. These converging pressures, both internal and external, have created a perfect storm, pushing Taiwan towards a momentous decision, accepting China's offer of unification. The details of the offer remain shrouded in secrecy, but it is believed to involve a one country, two systems framework, similar to the arrangement offered to Hong Kong. Integration and its discontents. Immediate impacts on Taiwan. The announcement of Taiwan's acceptance of China's unification offer sends shockwaves across the island and the world. In Taiwan, reactions are mixed, ranging from cautious optimism to outright despair. Supporters of unification, many with close economic ties to the mainland, hail the move as a long overdue step towards ending decades of division and ushering in an era of stability and prosperity. Opponents, however, view it as a surrender of Taiwan's hard-won freedoms and a betrayal of its democratic values. Protests erupt in Taipei and other major cities, with demonstrators waving Taiwanese flags and demanding a referendum on unification. The specter of Hong Kong, where Beijing's crackdown on dissent has eroded freedoms guaranteed under the one country, two systems framework, looms large in the minds of many Taiwanese. The economic implications are complex and far-reaching. Taiwan's economy, heavily reliant on trade with mainland China, faces both opportunities and risks. Integration into China's vast market could provide a significant boost to certain sectors, particularly manufacturing and technology. However, concerns abound about China's state-controlled economy, intellectual property rights, and the potential for Taiwan to become economically subservient to Beijing. The integration of Taiwan's military into China's People's Liberation Army, or PLA, is perhaps the most sensitive aspect of unification. Taiwan's military, though dwarfed by the PLA, is highly trained and equipped with advanced weaponry, primarily sourced from the United States. The process of integrating these forces, with their different doctrines and chains of command, is fraught with challenges and risks miscalculation. A world reacts, global responses, to a changed Asia. The news of Taiwan's unification with China reverberates across the globe. The United States expresses deep concern over the development. Calls for a strong response range from economic sanctions to increased military presence. In East Asia, the reaction is one of anxiety and uncertainty. Japan expresses grave concerns about regional stability. South Korea calls for dialogue and a peaceful resolution. European nations share concerns about potential escalation. The EU balances economic interests with democratic values. ASEAN countries express apprehension and pragmatism. They fear increased Chinese assertiveness in disputed territories. Yet, they are reluctant to alienate China, a key economic partner. Russia adopts a nuanced stance, supporting China's One China policy. Moscow sees an opportunity to exploit the rift between Beijing and Washington. The US and China. Navigating a new world order. The unification of Taiwan marks a watershed moment in US-China relations, fundamentally altering the geopolitical landscape of the Asia-Pacific region and beyond. The United States, facing the reality of a more powerful and assertive China, is forced to reassess its strategic priorities and its role in the region. The Biden administration, already under pressure from hawks in Congress to take a tougher stance on China, faces a dilemma. A direct military confrontation with China over Taiwan is deemed too risky, given the potential for escalation into a catastrophic conflict. However, inaction or a perceived weak response would be seen as a sign of American decline and embolden China's ambitions elsewhere. The United States, in the aftermath of Taiwan's unification, finds itself at a crossroads. The era of unchallenged American primacy is over. China's rise as a global power is a reality that can no longer be ignored or contained. the United States must adapt to this new reality, seeking ways to compete with China while also cooperating on issues of global concern, such as climate change and nuclear proliferation. The future of US-China relations will be defined by competition, cooperation, and an uneasy coexistence. The two superpowers will be locked in a strategic rivalry, vying for influence and seeking to shape the emerging world order according to their own values and interests. The challenge for both countries will be to manage this rivalry responsibly, avoiding a catastrophic conflict while addressing the pressing global challenges that demand their attention. The unification of Taiwan with China sends shockwaves through the global economy, triggering a series of dramatic shifts that will be felt for years to come. Taiwan, once a beacon of technological innovation and economic dynamism, now faces the challenge of integrating into the vastly different economic system of mainland China. For the world, this merger means disruption in the supply chains that have traditionally relied on Taiwan's advanced semiconductor industry. The market reacts with volatility as companies scramble to secure alternative suppliers and adjust to the new geopolitical reality. In the immediate aftermath, global stock markets experience turbulence. Investors, wary of the uncertainty, retreat to safer assets, causing significant fluctuations in currency values and commodity prices. The tech industry, heavily reliant on Taiwan's semiconductor production, is particularly hard hit, with companies like Apple and Intel facing potential delays and increased costs. Beyond the immediate market reactions, the long-term economic impacts begin to take shape. Countries and corporations reevaluate their strategies, considering the risks associated with over-reliance on any single region for critical components. This leads to a renewed focus on diversification, resilience, and the localization of supply chains. The United States and its allies, recognizing the strategic importance of semiconductor technology, ramp up their investments in domestic production capabilities. Governments around the world enact policies to incentivize innovation and reduce dependency on foreign suppliers. At the same time, China's economic policies and practices come under increased scrutiny. The international community debates the implications of China's growing influence over the global economy, with concerns about fair trade, intellectual property rights, and economic coercion taking center stage. The unification of Taiwan and China marks the beginning of a new era in global economics. The world must navigate this complex and uncertain landscape, finding ways to adapt and thrive in the face of unprecedented challenges and opportunities. As the world grapples with the economic fallout from Taiwan's unification with China, the focus shifts to the future and the path forward. Despite the challenges, there are glimmers of hope and opportunities for growth and collaboration. Countries and corporations are now more aware of the importance of diversification and resilience in their supply chains. This awakening sparks a wave of innovation and investment in domestic production capabilities, particularly in the technology sector. Governments around the world are enacting policies to incentivize local manufacturing and reduce dependency on foreign suppliers. At the same time, international organizations and alliances are working together to ensure that global trade remains fair and transparent. They are addressing concerns about intellectual property rights and economic coercion, striving to create a level playing field for all nations. For Taiwan, the road ahead is one of adaptation and integration. The island's technological prowess and innovative spirit will play a crucial role in shaping the future of China's economy. By leveraging its strengths, Taiwan can help drive economic growth and development in the region. The tech industry, though initially hit hard, begins to recover as new players emerge, and existing companies adapt to the changing landscape. Collaboration between countries and corporations leads to the development of new technologies and solutions that benefit the global community. As the dust settles, the world finds itself navigating a new era of global economics. The lessons learned from this monumental shift pave the way for a more resilient and interconnected world. The path forward may be challenging, but it is also filled with potential for growth, innovation, and collaboration. Together, we can build a future where economic stability and prosperity are shared by all.